What if I told you that the first woman in Greek mythology wasn't created out of love, but as a biological weapon designed to psychologically destroy humanity? What if Pandora wasn't an innocent victim of divine jealousy, but the most sophisticated weapon of mass destruction ever conceived? The story you know about Pandora's box is a sanitized fairy tale.
The real truth reveals a level of divine psychological warfare that makes modern propaganda look like children's games. After Prometheus gave fire to humanity, Zeus faced an unprecedented problem. Humans were evolving too quickly, becoming too independent, questioning divine authority. Brute force wouldn't work. He needed something that would corrupt humanity from within.
Like a virus that spreads through the very thing humans crave most: connection. That's when Zeus conceived the Pandora Project, the first instance of psychological warfare, targeted not at bodies, but at minds and souls. This wasn't about creating a woman. This was about engineering the perfect psychological Trojan horse. One that would replicate through every human relationship, every family, every society that would ever exist. Here's what they didn't tell you about the creation process. It wasn't random divine gifts. It was a carefully orchestrated weapons lab. Each god contributed a specific psychological warhead designed to maximize human suffering while maintaining plausible deniability. Aphrodite's beauty wasn't aesthetic. It was the kind of attraction that hijacks the brain itself. It blinds reason with raw desire. Think of it as the first love potion, designed to make targets ignore obvious red flags and surrender their judgment completely. Athena's skills weren't helpful domestic abilities. They were the perfect camouflage, making Pandora appear like the ideal companion while hiding her true function as a sleeper agent. And Hermes? He didn't give her curiosity. He gave her a psychological compulsion so powerful it would override every warning. Every instinct for self-preservation. The kind of burning need that ensures she would eventually do exactly what she was told never to do, when the timing would cause maximum damage. The box itself wasn't randomly filled with evils. Each component was precision engineered like biological warfare. Disease creates fear and isolation, making communities turn inward. War divides humans against each other when they should unite. Envy destroys cooperation at the root. Old age ensures that any wisdom gained through suffering dies with each generation. It's not chaos, it's systematic psychological destruction with a built-in reset button. But here's the most insidious part. Hope wasn't mercy. This illusion was the cruelest weapon of all, designed like the perfect psychological torture device. Hope doesn't heal suffering, it prolongs it indefinitely. This promise keeps you believing things will get better, ensuring you'll keep struggling instead of adapting to reality. Hope transforms animals who accept their circumstances into humans who are perpetually dissatisfied with everything they have. Zeus understood something that modern psychology has only recently discovered. The most effective torture isn't constant pain. It's intermittent reward mixed with unpredictable suffering. That's what creates addiction, dependency, and psychological control that lasts generations. Pandora wasn't just carrying evils. She was carrying the world's first mind control program. One so sophisticated that humans would transmit it willingly to their own children, believing they were sharing love. The Pandora Protocol didn't end in ancient Greece. It's still running, and the evidence is everywhere once you understand the pattern. This isn't new technology. It's the same ancient blueprint Zeus designed, hidden behind modern interfaces and shiny new names. Social media platforms operate on pure Pandora logic, like digital versions of her compulsive curiosity. They promise connection while delivering comparison and envy in carefully measured doses. The infinite scroll feature mimics Pandora's irresistible urge. You can't stop checking because there might be something better in the next post, the next swipe, the next notification. The algorithms create intermittent reward schedules that generate the same psychological dependency that kept Pandora's hand reaching for that box despite knowing the consequences. This is the same pattern Zeus designed. We just call it user engagement now. The beauty industry has perfected Aphrodite's original programming with surgical precision. Modern beauty standards aren't about aesthetics. They're about creating permanent dissatisfaction that feeds on itself. Every product promises to fix a flaw while revealing 3 new ones you never noticed. The more you chase impossible standards, the more inadequate you feel. It's not selling beauty. It's selling the illusion of beauty, while ensuring that longing burns eternal, but never reaches satisfaction. Zeus would recognize this immediately, the same psychological trap he embedded in Pandora's irresistible appearance. Now mass-produced and delivered through every screen, every advertisement, every mirror.
The consumption economy runs entirely on manufacturing the same restless dissatisfaction that made Pandora open the box. Credit systems allow instant gratification while creating long-term psychological and financial chains. The promise of happiness through purchasing keeps people trapped. They work jobs that drain their souls.
To buy objects that promise fulfillment, but deliver only temporary distraction. Black Friday, flash sales, limited time offers. These create the same psychological urgency that made Pandora's curiosity override her common sense. But here's what should terrify you. Artificial intelligence is now optimizing these ancient psychological exploitation patterns with mathematical precision. Machine learning algorithms don't care about human well-being. They care about harvesting attention and emotional energy. And the harvest is richest when users are perpetually dissatisfied, always hoping the next video, post, or purchase will provide the satisfaction they're seeking. The gods use myths. Today, algorithms use data, but the goal is identical: control the human soul. AI isn't serving human needs. It's perfecting the art of farming human consciousness, using psychological patterns that Zeus embedded in the original Pandora program. The gods have gone digital, but the game remains exactly the same. But here's what Zeus didn't account for in his ancient calculations. Awareness of the programming can shatter the programming. Once you recognize the Pandora pattern operating in your own life, you can choose to step outside the game entirely. The key isn't eliminating curiosity or longing. It's distinguishing between authentic desire and manufactured hunger. There are 2 types of promises: those that empower and those that enslave. Empowering promises are like a compass. They point toward realistic possibilities and motivate constructive action. They accept uncertainty without becoming paralyzed by it. Enslaving promises are like quicksand. They keep you sinking deeper while insisting that salvation is just one more purchase away, one more swipe, one more box away from reality. The ancient Greeks developed practices specifically designed to counter Pandora programming, like psychological armor against divine manipulation. They called it sophrosin, conscious self-control, based on understanding your own mental patterns rather than being controlled by them. They practiced ataraxias, tranquility, achieved by choosing what deserves your emotional energy instead of reacting to every stimulus designed to capture your attention. These weren't about suppression or denial. They were about conscious choice-making based on clear seeing of consequences. Modern science validates these ancient insights with mathematical precision. Digital detox isn't about rejecting technology. It's about using technology as a tool for your goals rather than being used as a resource for someone else's profit. Set specific times for checking messages rather than living in constant reaction mode. Choose what you consume rather than letting algorithms choose for you based on what generates the most psychological dependency. The rebellion isn't about finding the perfect relationship or the perfect life. That's still Pandora programming. Real freedom comes from understanding that no external person or circumstance can complete your internal sense of wholeness. The search for the perfect anything keeps you dissatisfied with real circumstances while chasing digital mirages. Financial liberation means recognizing that enough is a decision, not a number. The consumer economy depends entirely on your belief that you need more than you have. But research proves that beyond meeting basic needs, additional consumption creates diminishing returns on satisfaction while increasing psychological dependency.
The ultimate rebellion against the Pandora program is conscious contentment, not passive resignation, but active appreciation for what you actually have combined with clear-eyed choice about what you actually need. This breaks the transmission cycle completely. When you stop believing that happiness comes from external acquisitions, you stop passing that programming to the next generation. Remember that the original fire Prometheus gave humanity was consciousness itself. The ability to observe your own thoughts and choose your responses rather than simply reacting to whatever stimulus appears. That same consciousness can illuminate the psychological traps embedded in modern life, if you choose to look clearly at what you're actually experiencing rather than what you're told you should be experiencing. The box is already open. The psychological patterns are already loose in the world, replicating through every screen and every algorithm. But you don't have to keep feeding them your attention, your energy, your life force. You don't have to keep opening new boxes hoping this one will be different. The greatest victory over Zeus isn't to reseal Pandora's box. It's to recognize that true satisfaction was never in any box that someone else wanted to sell you. Because in the end, consciousness is both the trap and the key. The same awareness that can torture you with endless wanting can also liberate you through clear seeing of what actually is. The gods gave us a box. Prometheus gave us fire. What we do with the fire, that's the story still being written. If you're questioning everything you thought you knew about ancient mythology and its connection to modern life, you're asking the right questions. There are more hidden truths waiting to be uncovered, more patterns to recognize, more ancient wisdom that's been deliberately obscured. The deeper you look, the more you'll discover that the past isn't past. It's programming the present.